Hey everybody. Hope you all had good luck on your quizzes and stuff this week. Welcome to my vlog prompt and Sean's fireside chat. But yeah, so today we had a new exciting book that we got to start. So far, I think I like the other one a little bit better, but it's still early. We'll see. But so I kind of have two different questions. There was a lot to go over today in the readings. So I'm only going to touch on a couple of them. And it kept talking about a few different times how the price of college, basically the price of higher education, has gone up significantly in the last 15 years, while kind of more the cost of living, things of that nature, the consumer price index, it doesn't match. So it seems like higher education is getting more and more expensive, while people's money they can spend on it's not aligned. So they talked about three different cost indexes, I believe on page 2 in here. The first one was the consumer price index, and that has to do with kind of figuring out what the market basket price of goods and services for your average Joe are. They look at things like housing, transportation, food and drink, apparel, entertainment, all that kind of stuff. And so that was the first one they talked about, the first index. The next one, the argument was that institutions, we don't buy all the same things that your average Joe does. We spend money on different things. So maybe we should have a different price index. So they came up with the higher education price index, which kind of goes along with faculty salaries, things of that nature, and then other commodities that institutions need. The third one was called the higher education cost adjustment, from that first higher ed price index we were just talking about, where it has 75% salary data and then the other 25 gross domestic price deflator. So all of that in this, my main question regarding that is, what should we be basing the price of higher education? Like, what should our goal be? Should we have it based on the cost adjustment, the third one, or should it be on the consumer price index or a regular higher education price index? My thoughts on it are, yes, we can have a different cost index and stuff, and that might make it seem better when we're talking about how much it costs to go to college. Because, yeah, you're right, we don't pay a lot of money on apparel, things like that, like your regular GPI will. But your average Joe they're going with the GPI. That's how much money they have. So I feel like it would be better to still kind of budget and make your baseline kind of prices along with that consumer price index. That's my opinion on it. So once again, the question is, which of the three price indexes do you think we should use in higher education? And once again, I think those are on page 2. The second question that I got, it had to do with something that we've been talking a little bit about in classes, talking about like basically the federal government and higher education. So it said in the book that the federal government invests over $111 billion a year in higher ed. So because of that, they've been more and more stringent on wanting to see results and wanting things reported to them. And it talked about in 2008 kind of a reform that happened, a reauthorization, the Higher Education Opportunities Act. And what this did was it shifted a lot of oversight of higher education from self-regulation, what we normally, holy crap, that's getting big, of self-regulation to kind of federal regulation. It increased institutions' requirements to report things, which costs institutions money, and that's coming back out of institution budget. And they kind of mentioned in there that higher education has to do this, if no other reason than to prevent more government intrusion. And that kind of brought me along the question, what do you guys think about kind of the federal government regulating higher ed? It's been something where I wouldn't call it a private, because they definitely have a big effect on it, and they invest a lot in it, which is understandable. But do you think it could be a good idea to have a federally ran higher education? Yeah, and that's kind of been a question that's been popping up. Me personally, I think that institutions, there's so many different kinds, they're so unique that it's not the best idea to have one centrally, kind of one big plan that everything has to fit into. But, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of different there's definitely good things. I think it would make people be more accountable, make schools be more accountable. But at the same time, it would kind of crush some of the creativity and uniqueness about institutions. But it's definitely not I wouldn't say so distant, but I feel like it could happen. Like, it's one of those things where if you would have told me this a while ago, I'd be like, nah, that's not going to happen. But the more and more regulations that are being put on it, and I feel like it could. And so, long story short, my question is, do you think that could be a good thing if higher education becomes a federally ran entity? Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you guys had a great weekend. And I will recap my question because I started rambling a little bit. The first one is, what kind of index do you think that we should base prices on? Found on page 2. The Consumer Price Index, Higher Education Price Index, or Higher Education Cost Adjustment. And then the second question is, what do you think about a fully federally run higher education? Of higher education. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed my vlog post, and I'm going to put this fire out before my house burns down. But y'all have a great one. Peace.